I remember it's so like make me tear up because, you know, as you're starting something, you don't know if people are going to buy your product. You don't know if they're going to appreciate the product. You don't know if it's going to help them. The whole reason I wanted to start this was because I wanted to help millions of women. My name is Amy Robbins, and I am the CEO co-founder of Alexo Athletica. So in 2015, I went out on a run, just like I did every single day, except this day was a little bit different in that I was on a back road. And at that point, I didn't carry any form of self-defense tool on my body. I never felt like I needed to, right? Nothing scary or threatening had ever happened to me. This day, I went around a corner and I heard a car behind me, which was a little odd because I was in the middle of nowhere. When the car got closer to me, I could tell it was a van full of men. They rolled down the windows, they got extremely close to me, and they started doing this aggressive catcalling and harassing that so many women have experienced. I thought I was safe because they drove off, but then they got to the end of the road and they came back. And as they were coming back, that was the first time that I had my, oh no, moment. What am I gonna do? Those thoughts started playing in my head. Where am I gonna run? Where am I gonna go? I can't fight them off. I can't outrun them. What am I gonna do? And so I actually started doing the only thing that I knew to do, which was to start praying. And I said, God, please get me home safely. And if you do, I will do something with my second chance. I had no idea that that second chance was gonna set me on a path to my purpose and set me on a completely different path than I was on. So luckily they drove off, my story ended there, but I did get to run home. I got my license to carry. And I said, now I want to carry it on my body when I run. Where am I supposed to do that? So I started researching and I started looking at things in like in the tactical space. Having a fashion background, nothing in the tactical space really fit what I was currently wearing on an everyday basis. So I really wanted to fuse this world of fashion and function together. And I noticed that none of the big name athletic brands were ever going to put holsters in their pants. And so as I started looking at the numbers, I started seeing that from 2007 to, at that time, 2015, women getting their concealed carry license had increased by 500%. That was a big uptick, a big increase, right? And women starting to be proactive with their self-defense. But Runner's World had just come out with an article that said 80% of women carry some form of self-defense tool, less than lethal, non-lethal, and lethal options. 50% at that point had reported that they felt unsafe while they were walking or running. And I said, that's a big number. It's a big number of women, and we need to do something about this. So because I couldn't find anything that fit my lifestyle, I said, you know what? I had no background in design, I had no background in manufacturing, but I knew that I wanted to keep women safe and I wanted to give them fashionable, functional options. And so we started the very first concealed carry activewear brand, and that's how Alexo became the company that it is today. Luckily, I had a little bit of background in the fashion industry per se, because I had been in the modeling industry for over 15 years prior to that. So I had a lot of friends that were designers. So I said, let's start there. I can't sketch. I've got my ideas, but I just need a pair of leggings and I need to be able to glue a few things on there to show what I want and what I'm thinking. But I contacted my friends that did have technical design and pattern making skills. They started putting all of my ideas onto paper, sketching it out. I would basically vision board everything with the colors, the idea, the trends, and really where I wanted to see this go, what was lacking in the industry. I'd put all that together on basically vision boards. I would send it to them, and they say, wonderful, we love this idea. They started crafting all of it. But then you gotta find someone to make the clothes for you. And that is not as easy as people think. You can't just pick up the phone, call a manufacturer in Los Angeles and say, hey, I had this idea, can you make me 100 units? They will laugh at you and they will not answer your call. So I was at SHOT Show one year. I would meet a bunch of vendors and was telling people what I wanted to do. And on the very last day of SHOT Show, as I was leaving to go to the airport, I get stopped by a guy who said, hey, one of your friends told me about your idea. I actually work for a manufacturing company. We love it. We want to work with you on your minimums. We want to get this idea. We want to bring this to life. Really conservative group of individuals that loved the Second Amendment, loved what we were doing, and they helped us get everything off the ground. Anytime you start a business, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. And I would say that you're probably going to have more downs than you do ups. And that is why I believe a lot of businesses, especially within their first and third year, they don't succeed. It's the unknowns, it's the challenges that you're continuing to face as you're starting something, especially something like what we were doing, we were creating an entirely new niche in the activewear space. There's a lot of unknowns. We were the first ones over the hill on a lot of things. And so we had a manufacturer take our 50% down deposit at the very beginning and not deliver the product, almost put us out of business. So we had partnerships that didn't go the way that we really thought that they were going to go. But each and every time something didn't go the way that we thought, it was a learning opportunity for us. So instead of trying to look at it, getting frustrated, getting down, we said the mission is bigger, the purpose is bigger than any of these setbacks. So we've got to keep forging ahead. We've got to keep doing this. You've got to set that purpose. You've got to know your why. And at the core of what you're doing, if you have that why, that is going to help you get over those challenges and continue to move past, because you will. I can guarantee you will have downs in your life as an entrepreneur and as you're starting a business. I remember it's so still like make me tear up, because as you're starting something, you don't know if people are going to buy your product. You don't know if they're going to appreciate the product. You don't know if it's going to help them. And the whole reason I wanted to start this was because I wanted to help millions of women. And I remember getting handwritten thank you notes when we first started. One of them in particular was from a college girl who said, "I cannot thank you enough for creating a product that makes me feel confident to walk across campus if I've been studying in the library since 11 p.m. And we can't thank you enough because I haven't had anything that makes it easy and accessible to get to the tools that I need." Got another one from an FBI agent who said, "Thank you for making clothes that help me to feel feminine and they're still functional when I'm off duty." And so getting that feedback, getting that appreciation meant so much to me. And I've framed both of those. I have them in my office today. And when times get tough, I always look back at them, because I say, look, even if it helps one person, even if it changes the life of one person, like, we've got to keep going. We've got to keep doing this. And so I will never forget those little moments along the way that just gave us that little push that we needed to keep going. If there are women out there that are wanting to start a business, one of the things that I always tell women as I talk to them and as I'm coaching them is that dreams never expire. They don't have an expiration date. And that is so encouraging to women who think they needed to reach this point by the time they were 30 years old, or they needed to be here by the time that they were 40. Sometimes there are dreams that are placed in our heart that we don't really get the opportunity to start pursuing until later in our life. I was 30. I started Alexo when I was 32, 33. I always thought I would have already had my business by the time I turned 30. I wanted to have a goal of $1 million in the bank when I was 30 years old. That didn't happen. And it's okay. Everybody else wants to put these limits on when you need to reach a certain point in your life. And you just have to remember that dreams don't have an expiration date. Go for it. If it's something that you really want to do, sit down and map out how you can do it, and then also be prepared to make the sacrifices that most people aren't willing to make to have the things that you want to have. And that's what I think the biggest misconception as you watch Instagram and you see all these people living these fabulous lives, or on social media, they're living and doing what you wish you could be doing. Half of it's not reality, but what you have to understand is that there's actual big sacrifices that come in order to have success. And if you're not willing to grind it out, put the time in, put the effort in, continue to forge forward when you have those slumps and those downturns, then it might not happen. And I just tell people, like, just set your mind that you're going to succeed no matter what, no matter how long it takes, and just go do it. I'm Amy Robbins, and I'm a great American warrior.
Thanks for watching this episode of Great American Warriors, featuring the women of America who are serving all Americans, both overseas as well as right here at home. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can know when new episodes are released. If you or someone you know is a great American warrior, message us today to be considered for an upcoming episode.